So would I buy this $1.4 million shop? Let's talk about this. This is a real auto body repair center listed for sale on Biz by Sell, asking $1.4 million with $500,000 in claimed cash flow and $2 million in reported revenue. Now on the surface, that's 2.79 times SDE. But here's the claim that has to hold up. It claims $500,000 in SDE, 12 employees, and absentee ownership, and that combination is worth proving. But this is a body shop. The spray booth isn't the business. The lease isn't the business. Whoever writes the estimates and works the insurance adjusters may actually be the business. So I want to know whether I'm buying a shop that runs without its owners or paying $1.4 million for a job the owners stopped showing up to. 12 employees only helps if one of them truly runs the shop. So let me show you what this listing proves, what it doesn't, and whether I'd take the next call. So here's what the listing actually tells us. And before we do any math, I want to separate what the listing says from what anybody has proven. The asking price is $1.4 million, and the inventory is extra. Cash flow is $500,000, and that's stated as SDE. Revenue is $2 million, and that one is seller supplied. The shop was established in 2021, so that's a short operating history. It says there are 12 employees, 10 full-time and 2 part-time, but it never tells us what any of them do. Rent is about $12,000 a month on 5,500 square feet, and the lease is claimed to run to May 2040, which is a long runway if the paper backs it up. And there's about $30,000 of inventory, and it's not included in the price. Now, those are all listing facts and seller claims. They are not diligence. They're enough to decide whether we keep reading, nothing more. So this may actually have enough people to support the absentee claim. And here's why I keep reading. The price is 2.79 times reported SDE, and that works out to an SDE margin of 25%. The listing does hand us real things to dig into. 2.79 times is reasonable for a first look. 12 employees give us more operating depth than most small shops. It claims direct repair relationships and steady workflow. The facility was reportedly renovated in 2025, and the lease is claimed to run through May 2040. And so all of those are reasons stacked for it that make this one interesting. But now look at what the brochure does not establish. It doesn't prove that $500,000 of SDE, and it doesn't prove a single add back behind it. It doesn't tell us who manages the estimating, who chases the supplements, who owns the insurer relationships, or who runs production. It doesn't break revenue and gross profit down by direct repair account. It doesn't say whether that 2025 renovation created debt or deferred obligations. And it doesn't prove the condition, the title, or the actual value of the equipment. And look, I'm not saying the broker is lying, I'm saying the listing is doing its job. Now we've got to do ours. So 12 employees only helps if one of them truly runs the shop. This is the part that can change the entire deal. Here's what we know. The listing says 12 employees, and it says the owners spend only a few hours a week in the business. Here's what we don't know. It doesn't identify a general manager, an estimator, a production manager, or a controller. Nobody is named as the person who runs the floor. We don't know the direct repair concentration. We don't know cycle time, supplement rate, technician productivity, or comeback history. So here's the assumption to test. A capable operating manager is already sitting in that payroll, and that person stays after the sale. An absentee shop is only absentee because somebody else is in it every morning. If that person walks out with the seller, you didn't buy a business. You bought a building full of equipment and a phone that still rings. None of those unknowns are automatic red flags. They're the things the next call has to answer. If the evidence is good, we keep going. If the seller can't produce it, we stop. So how much of that $500,000 do I actually trust? The listing gives us exactly one SDE number, and that's $500,000. What it doesn't give us is the add back bridge. So there's no real detail on what's inside it. So I'm not going to invent which expenses disappear after closing. I'm going to stress the number instead. I'm accepting 85% of it, which puts us at $425,000. That's a $75,000 haircut right off the top. And that doesn't mean I know exactly 15% of it is fake. It means I want to know whether this deal survives when some of that claimed cash flow disappears. For an owner-operator, that accepted SDE is your pay and your profit combined, before any debt. So if you don't want to be in that shop every day, somebody else has to be, and you've got to pay that person at market rate. The moment you do, this math changes. And you can see right there why I want the add back bridge before I ever talk about price. Same business, same price. Different buyer model. So now let's back it into debt service and find out whether this price survives financing. The buyer puts in $70,000. The seller carries another $70,000 at 0% interest on full standby. And that leaves a modeled SBA loan of $1.3 million. Monthly SBA debt service is about $17,000, so that's roughly $199,000 a year. Against our accepted SDE, debt coverage is 2.13 times, and cash after debt is about $226,000 for an owner-operator. That covers the loan comfortably, right? But look at everything that number still sits in front of. It's before tax, before working capital, before future equipment spending, and before surprises. And remember what that 0% seller note actually is. It carries no payments while the SBA loan runs, but the principal is still owed later. It's a delay, not a discount. And notice what this screen does not carry. There's no manager replacement in it. If it turns out you have to hire the person who runs that shop, you run this whole screen again, and it will not look this friendly. The spreadsheet tells us whether the structure is possible. It doesn't prove the seller's numbers. Now that first broker call has 6 jobs. And at this point, I'm not asking the broker to sell me the business. It's not about negotiating price. We're not there yet. I'm trying to answer 6 questions. First, who runs daily estimating? Supplements, insurer communication, production, and quality control? I want a name. Second, break revenue and gross profit down by direct repair account, by insurer, and by service line. Third, show me the SDE bridge, the tax returns, and the lender accepted add backs for 3 years. Fourth, walk me through every employee, the role, the pay, the tenure, the certifications, what they produce, and whether they're staying after close. Fifth, show me the full lease through 2040, the assignment rights, the increases, the options, and the landlord consent. And sixth, show me the equipment titles, the renovation invoices, any debt against them, the cycle time, the comeback rate, and the open insurance receivables. Now, if the broker can't answer all of that on the first call, that's fine. If the seller can't produce the evidence after an NDA, that's not fine. So the price and the staffing earn the call. The management depth decides the deal. That's the crux of it. So would I buy it? Obviously, nobody can answer that off a biz buy sell listing. Would I take the next call? Yeah, this one earns it. The reported multiple is reasonable, the lease is long, and 12 employees may genuinely support the absentee claim. So I take that call to verify the management layer, the insurer concentration, and the SDE bridge. If those survive diligence, this could be actionable. The public numbers tell us whether a deal deserves more work. The documents and the operating evidence decide whether it deserves an offer. My first pass verdict is take the call. That's a decision about the next call. It's not a decision to buy.